It's about to happen. Tonight, a major shift is taking place, and nothing stays the same after this. Most people won't even notice it. Something huge is taking place tonight, and only a few are chosen to be part of it. I truly believe this shift is much bigger than it appears on the surface. And whether you realize it or not, the signs have been building all day. Signs preparing you for a shift that doesn't reach everyone. And it's crucial for you to recognize them. You're going to understand why. Tonight doesn't stand alone. It sits inside a 72-hour shadow gap that is here to bless those who are spiritually attuned. There's two main events peaking tonight. The moon reaches apogee tonight, the farthest point from Earth. And along with that, the moon is in Scorpio right now. This means way more than you think. And the truth is, there are three unmistakable signs that the universe has been preparing you for what happens tonight. And once you see the first sign, you'll be surprised at how clearly everything starts to make sense. If you felt your mood shift out of nowhere today, not because of a situation, not because of a thought, but like something inside you suddenly tilted, that wasn't emotional instability. That was alignment happening faster than your mind could keep up with. You might have felt heavy for a moment, or strangely overwhelmed, or even unusually uplifted for no clear reason. It may have lasted 10 minutes or an hour, but the lack of explanation is the real sign. When energy prepares you for a shift, it doesn't ask for permission. It simply moves. What you felt today was your internal field adjusting itself to match what's coming tonight. Your body always feels these turning points first, long before your rational mind can create a story around it. And that's why it hits so suddenly. One moment you're fine, and the next moment, everything feels different, even though nothing outside of you has changed. This is what happens when energy steps into a new dimension before you do. Your body reacts to the crossing first. The mind follows later. It's like the universe nudging you into a frequency you weren't consciously planning to enter, but one you're finally ready for. And here's the part most people don't realize. Your emotional shifts are not random. They are the earliest whispers of spiritual movement. If today felt unexplainably intense, sudden, or out of character, then your system is already rearranging itself for the shift set to happen tonight. It's the first sign that you're not just going into this night, you're being called into it. Something in you is already preparing for impact. Tonight carries a quiet revelation. Not the kind that appears in the sky, not the kind you can see with your eyes or decode with logic. It's the kind that shows up in intuition, in the subtle tug of awareness that tells you something is different, even if the world looks the same. Most people will move through tonight as if it were any other evening. They won't notice the shift, they won't feel the opening, and they won't recognize the moment that was meant for them. But the spiritually awake will sense it immediately. There's a layer being peeled back tonight, and only those who are tuned in will recognize the clarity underneath it. You may feel as if something hidden is trying to surface, not a secret outside of you, but a truth inside of you. A quiet realization, a sudden knowing, a moment of internal honesty that refuses to be ignored. And that sensation isn't random, it's intentional. Revelation doesn't come from the sky. It comes from the moment your spirit finally hears what your soul has been saying. Tonight is one of those moments. The universe is revealing something small but significant, something that shifts the way you see your path. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's precise. Pay attention to the strange coincidences that line up too perfectly. Pay attention to the gut feelings that appear without explanation. Pay attention to the timing of things, who reaches out, what you stumble across, what repeats itself. None of it is accidental tonight. This is not a night of chaos. It's a night of clarity. A test of whether you can recognize the signal in the middle of the quiet. And if you feel it, you're already ahead of most. If your mind kept circling around one specific thought today, a memory you haven't visited in a while, a decision you've been avoiding, a possibility you weren't ready to admit, or even a person whose name suddenly reappeared in your head, that wasn't coincidence, and it definitely wasn't random mental noise. When a shift is scheduled for a specific night, the universe begins funneling your attention toward the exact point where that shift is going to land. You might have tried to focus on your work, have a conversation, or carry on with your normal routine, but something kept pulling at you. It didn't matter how many times you tried to shake it off. Your attention kept snapping back to the same place, as if your mind refused to move on. That gravitational pull is the spiritual world narrowing your internal lens. It's locking you onto the area where something is about to change. This isn't obsession. This isn't overthinking. This is spiritual targeting. When you're being prepared for a shift, the universe isolates the part of your life that is ready to move. And once that area is chosen, your mind becomes magnetized to it. Even if you don't consciously understand the significance, your spirit already does. Maybe you kept remembering a moment that shaped you. Maybe you kept replaying a conversation that didn't sit right. Maybe you kept imagining a future that scares you or excites you. Or maybe the same question kept returning no matter how many times you dismissed it. Whichever it was, that repeated thought is the doorway. And here's the deeper truth. Your mind doesn't loop without meaning. It loops where transformation is about to strike. Whatever kept calling your attention today is directly connected to what tonight is designed to shift. Don't ignore it, and don't brush it off as meaningless. If it resurfaced today, it resurfaced with timing, intention, and purpose. Something in that exact area is ready to evolve, and tonight is the moment where that evolution begins. If you find yourself wanting to step back from people tonight, not because you're upset, not because you're tired, but because something in you wants silence, distance, or space, that's another sign your spirit is aligning with the shift that's scheduled for this night. There's a difference between loneliness and intentional solitude, and what you feel tonight is the second kind. It's the quiet pull toward being with yourself long enough for something important to reach you. Many spiritually awake people will feel this pull as a sudden loss of interest in conversations, social media, or noise. Some will feel slightly drained by others without understanding why. Some will feel like the vibe around them is off, even if nothing obvious has happened. These sensations aren't warnings, they're preparations. Your field is being cleared, not because anything is wrong, but because something wants to reach you without interference. This isn't about doing deep healing work. It's not about analyzing your emotions or diving into your past. Tonight's solitude is not heavy, it's precise. You're being positioned to receive something, a realization, a shift, a message, a spark. And you can't receive clearly when your energy is tangled with everyone else's. Even 10 minutes alone can reset your internal frequency to the level needed for what's coming. Think of it like a sacred appointment that your soul scheduled behind your back. You weren't meant to know about it until today, because knowing earlier would have changed how you moved. The timing had to be natural. Your spirit waited for this exact window. This night, this energy, this version of you and now it's gently pulling you inward. And here's the line that sums it up. Solitude isn't isolation, it's alignment. When your soul wants you alone, it's because something is about to meet you there. Tonight is not an accident. Tonight is a moment of spiritual precision, and your desire for solitude is simply the signal that you're stepping into the space where the shift can finally reach you. There are certain nights when the energy around you becomes more than just a background force. It becomes a conduit. Tonight is one of those nights. Most people never hear about this concept because it isn't something talked about in typical spiritual circles, but in deeper traditions, there is an understanding that some forms of wisdom, responsibility, and soul-level purpose are not learned, but inherited. And those inheritances don't arrive on ordinary days. They arrive on nights like this, when the ego softens just enough for the spirit to step forward and receive. Energetic inheritance isn't about money or material gifts. It's about receiving something your lineage, your soul family, or even your higher self has been waiting to pass on to you. A role, a gift, a knowing, a calling that belongs to the person you are becoming, rather than the person you have been. These inheritances require stillness, not effort. They only appear when your inner noise drops low enough for the deeper signals to come through. And tonight, that quiet arrives. Not the forced quiet of isolation or meditation, but the natural quiet that comes when your spirit senses a transition point and instinctively slows everything down so you can hear what you weren't able to hear before. If you feel more reflective than usual, more aware of what matters, or even more responsible for something you can't yet name, that's part of this process. You may be unknowingly stepping into a role tonight. Some will be called into the role of protector, the one who stabilizes energy around others. Some will step into the role of teacher, not in a classroom, but through the guidance they naturally provide. Some will step into the role of cycle breaker, the one who ends patterns that have passed through generations. And some will step into roles that can't be named, only recognized by the way your instincts sharpen. This is where instinct becomes the messenger. Whatever you feel pulled to do tonight, whether it's reaching out to someone, walking away from something, starting a conversation, or choosing silence, pay attention. That impulse is not random. It's the inheritance moving into place. The next chapter of your identity making itself known. Purpose isn't always chosen. Sometimes it's delivered. If something in you feels like it's shifting from within, or if you sense a weight settling on your spirit that feels more like direction than burden, then tonight is not just another night for you. It's an initiation, and your instinct is the door that opens it. If you feel strangely disconnected tonight, not depressed, not overwhelmed, just detached from the usual desires, distractions, and emotional noise, that is exactly what's supposed to be happening. The apogee moon creates a rare kind of emotional distance, a quiet in the inner world that doesn't feel empty, but feels clean. This isn't numbness, it's clarity. It's the moment where the soul speaks without being drowned out by the usual static of daily life. People across all walks of life are feeling this same subtle disconnection tonight. You may feel uninterested in the conversations you usually entertain. You may feel indifferent to the drama that normally pulls your attention. You may feel tired of repeating the same emotional loops or engaging in the same patterns that you've outgrown. It might feel strange at first, almost like your identity isn't attaching to anything the way it usually does. But this sensation is intentional. It's a reset, not a malfunction. What's happening tonight is not emotional shutdown, it's energetic filtration. The soul is distancing itself from everything that no longer fits, everything that doesn't support your next level, everything that has been weighing on your spirit more than you realized. When the energy shifts this deeply, even the things you thought you cared about seem to fade into the background, giving you a chance to see what your heart actually wants, without the layers of interference that usually distort the picture. For those who have been unsure about what feels off in their life, tonight is the night where that discomfort becomes undeniable. You'll feel it in your chest, in your intuition, in your honest moments with yourself. You won't need to think your way into clarity. Clarity will find you. On the other hand, if you already know what needs to change, what needs to end, or what needs to begin, tonight gives you the emotional detachment needed to finally release the old without guilt or hesitation. Sometimes the universe pulls your emotions back so you can finally see the truth without flinching. Tonight makes it easy to let go of what has overstayed its place in your life. It makes it easier to see the difference between what drains you and what strengthens you. It makes it easier to recognize what actually nourishes your spirit. And that clarity, that moment of clean detachment, is the point. Tonight isn't pushing you away from your life. It's pulling you closer to the version of your life that actually belongs to you. Scorpio energy is one of the most misunderstood forces in astrology because people assume it rewards intensity or emotion or passion. But the truth is far more precise than that. Scorpio energy doesn't respond to hope, begging, fear, or wishful thinking. It doesn't move for people who sit and wait for signs. It doesn't shift for those who feel ready. It shifts for those who act. Scorpio energy obeys the brave. It's the frequency of those who are willing to walk into the unknown without asking for a guarantee, a map, or a promise of safety. Tonight, that energy is at its peak, and it's not here to punish or intimidate you. It's here to ask one question: how real are you willing to be with yourself? Because when Scorpio holds the night, there is no room for pretending. It amplifies whatever is true and strips away whatever is performative. It listens only to the person who stands in their honesty, even if that honesty is uncomfortable. This is why tonight feels like a turning point. Scorpio doesn't care about appearances or excuses. It cares about commitment. It cares about whether you're willing to choose the path that's right for your soul over the path that's comfortable for your ego. And this is what transforms people. Not the intensity of their emotions, but the courage behind their choices. If you've been hiding from a truth, avoiding a decision, or waiting for the perfect moment to take a step forward, Scorpio energy will make that impossible to ignore tonight. You'll feel a kind of inner pressure that isn't fear. It's readiness. It's the feeling that you can't stay in the same emotional place anymore because something in you has already outgrown it. Scorpio doesn't transform you. It challenges you to transform yourself. Tonight is a test of that bravery. Not a test from the universe to see if you fail, but a test to show you how capable you already are. Nothing external is blocking your next chapter right now. No astrology, no timing, no person, no fear. The only barrier is how honest you're willing to be about what you want, and whether you're willing to take the first brave step toward it. If you step forward tonight, the energy will meet you. If you hesitate, it will wait, but it won't move until you do. That is Scorpio's secret gift. It hands the power back to you. Tonight holds another layer that most people won't realize until it's already passed. There may be a moment that feels like pure coincidence, An unexpected message, a strange conversation, a sudden delay, a random inconvenience, or even someone showing up in your life out of nowhere. On the surface, it may look meaningless, but spiritually, tonight is known for hiding tests inside ordinary interactions. This isn't the universe trying to trick you, it's trying to confirm you. It's giving you a chance to show that the lessons you've been absorbing, the awareness you've been growing, and the clarity you've been earning aren't just things you understand. They're things you're ready to live by. And the test never looks mystical. It looks normal. That's what makes it powerful. Something may happen that triggers an old reaction. A reaction you used to fall into without thinking. Maybe someone pushes a boundary. Maybe you're tempted to shrink yourself. Maybe you're confronted with an opportunity you normally talk yourself out of. Maybe an old fear resurfaces for one last check. These are not setbacks, these are checkpoints. Spirit tests don't come to punish you. They come to reveal you. They show you whether you're aligned with your past or your future, whether you're still operating from old wounds or finally moving from a place of clarity, whether you're choosing familiar pain or unfamiliar growth. Tonight's test, if it appears, will be subtle. It might pass by in seconds, but for those who recognize it, for those who see through the disguise, it becomes the moment where everything lifts. It's the spiritual equivalent of a level up. Not loud, not dramatic, but deeply impactful. Those who respond differently than they would have before will feel the shift immediately. A sense of pride, lightness, groundedness, or inner confirmation. Those who react in old ways will feel the familiar heaviness, not as failure, but as clarity. It shows you exactly where growth is still waiting. Tonight isn't about being perfect, it's about being aware. And the spiritually awake are the ones who realize that the universe speaks loudest through the moments that look the most ordinary. There are moments in your life where the movement around you slows down, not because nothing is happening, but because something is happening somewhere you cannot see. Tonight is one of those moments. In spiritual traditions around the world, there's a belief shared across cultures. When your path is about to shift, your name is spoken before anything actually changes. And tonight, that is exactly what's happening for you. Your name is being mentioned in higher dimensions. This isn't about judgment, punishment, or anything fearful. It's more like a review, an evaluation of where you are now compared to where you're meant to go next. The spiritual realm discusses you the same way a team discusses someone they're preparing to promote. What support do they need? What doors are they ready for? What challenges have they outgrown? What resources will help them rise instead of repeating old cycles? If you've been feeling like your life has been paused lately, or like you've been waiting for something without knowing exactly what, it's because your next chapter has required approval, a green light from a place beyond the physical world. People misunderstand stillness. They think it means nothing is happening, but often, the most important decisions about your path happen in that quiet. And tonight, the quiet is active. Your energy is being assessed. Your growth is being acknowledged. Your readiness is being recognized. This can be deeply validating if you felt overlooked, underestimated, or stuck. You're not stuck. You're being reviewed. What's being discussed tonight isn't whether you deserve good things. That part was settled long ago. What's being discussed is timing, alignment, and which resources can finally be released to you without overwhelming your system. A shift this important doesn't happen automatically. It happens when the spiritual realm agrees that you're ready for the next layer of your life. And tonight, that agreement might finally be forming. Tonight carries a weight that most people will never notice, and yet those who feel even the slightest shift inside them will intuitively understand that the final moments before sleep are not ordinary tonight. There is a sensitivity in the energy, a heightened receptivity between your conscious mind and your deeper self. It's the kind of night where your thoughts don't just fade into the background. They imprint, they leave marks, they ripple forward. And because of that, what you choose to think, say, or decide before you close your eyes will travel further than usual. It's almost like the universe has opened a channel, not one that requires rituals or perfect timing, but one that requires honesty. The energy you fall asleep with tonight becomes the lens through which the next few weeks unfold. This is why tonight is not meant to end casually. It's not meant to end in distraction or autopilot. The final thought you leave your mind resting on becomes the instruction your subconscious will work on while you sleep. And tonight, the subconscious is especially receptive, hungry even for direction. Think of all the nights you've gone to bed carrying stress or doubt and how those emotions shaped your days without you realizing it. Now take that same mechanism and imagine it amplified. Imagine it tuned to a finer frequency. This isn't about perfection. You don't need to force positivity or pretend to know exactly what you want. What matters is intention, a clear direction, even if it's simple, a quiet commitment, a decision whispered in your own heart. When you choose your final thought tonight, you're not just influencing your mood for tomorrow, you're steering the trajectory of your emotional and spiritual momentum. The people who understand this will not let tonight slip away. They'll take a moment, even 30 seconds, to choose what they want to anchor into their future. Tonight's energy works like a magnifier. It doesn't create something out of nothing. It strengthens whatever seed you plant. A single sentence spoken with clarity tonight can do more for you than a week of forcing yourself to stay motivated. A single realization accepted tonight can shift your relationship with yourself for the rest of the month. And a single choice declared tonight can open opportunities you've been circling around for far too long. This is why you cannot end the night unconsciously. The worst thing you can do is drift off while scrolling endlessly or thinking about something you don't actually want to create more of. The energy tonight listens, it holds, it amplifies. So choose carefully, choose thoughtfully, choose powerfully, speak your becoming. Don't let the night end without declaring what you're stepping into. What you decide before sleep tonight won't just stay in your mind. It will echo outward, shaping the tone of your days, your decisions, and the opportunities that begin to gather around you. Tonight gives you the pen. Tonight gives you the blank page. The question is simply what you choose to write with your final thought. Tonight gives you the pen. Tonight gives you the blank page. The question is simply what you choose to write with your final thought. But here's what most people never understand. Your subconscious isn't waiting for a perfect affirmation or a beautifully crafted intention. It's waiting for authenticity, the raw truth of what you want. The thing you've been afraid to admit, even to yourself. That's why this window is so rare. The honesty you offer your spirit tonight will be received without resistance. If you're still here, thank you for spending this time with me. I really do appreciate it. Tonight carries its own energy, its own rhythm, and whatever parts of it spoke to you will settle in on their own. You don't need to chase anything or overthink what comes next. Just move through the rest of this night with a steady mind and an open spirit. Sometimes that's all a shift needs, a little space to land.